have traffic there too. And then now the baseball stadium. I mean, I can't imagine that traffic. It's gonna be kind of crazy. But I mean, hey, I'm excited for the for the Oakland A's. Well, now Vegas A's, I guess, or they have a team name yet.
I'm not too excited for that.
No,
They shouldn't be
they
shouldn't be leaving Oakland, but the owner is who he is, and it is what it is.
Personally, I haven't seen the stadium, so I heard it's kind of they haven't really reinvented it. I mean, they could have just spent more money investing in, building the stadium up. But I heard it's kind of like an old stadium.
It's trash. The stadium that they're in is terrible. Players don't like it. Visitors don't like it. So I get it on that part. The part I don't like is the owner. He didn't really try that hard to keep them in Oakland. And that's my biggest problem. Because Oakland fans don't deserve that. And a lot of times when they don't show up to games is because they don't like the owner. So, but hey, it's his money. He can do what he wants.
True. I'm not sure when it'll be built. The stadium. I'm pretty sure that they're probably discussing it now where they're going to be putting it at. I know it's going to be on the strip, but somewhere probably, obviously, far away than where all the other main, attractions are, so they can have space. But I mean, I think right behind the stadium. Hey, I'm not a Raiders fan, but I mean, I've been there. I mean, I haven't been to Allegiant Stadium, but it's kind of cool to see. Like, it looks like a Star Wars spaceship. There's a black. It looks like a cool stadium. But it's kind of a lot of dead space out there. I'm pretty sure they're gonna have room to build a stadium. But as far as did they say where? Because obviously it's not gonna be built next year. So where are they gonna play next year? Or do they have a stadium? Like,
so they basically have 3 years, and because they're
like a
leaving
3-year
Oakland,
plan.
Well, it's not. It's 3 years until technically the stadium would be built and ready to go in Vegas.
Okay.
So because they made that decision, and I think the owner's kind of running from Oakland because the fans are on 10 in terms of their frustration. They're gonna play in Sacramento for 3 years at a AAA stadium until it's built in Vegas. But the problem is the owner hasn't finalized how they're going to finance the stadium in Vegas. So they're not going to break ground in Vegas until that agreement's worked out.
Right.
So there's a good chance they may never actually play in Vegas. At least under this owner. I don't know. It's a mess. Baseball's hoping that it goes through, smoothly, and none of these issues linger, but I just don't know right now. The players are in limbo. They're going to play wherever they tell them to play, but I doubt they're going to be happy playing in Sacramento. I doubt a lot of Oakland fans will actually travel to Sacramento to watch them, because they probably won't, out of frustration for the owner.
How, like, so you said they're playing at a AAA stadium?
Yeah, they made an agreement with Sacramento.
I'm just trying to say, because like with regulations as far as like MLB, like the actual like like a standard MLB stadium. I mean, maybe AAA and through AA, well, through single A, AA, AAA, and MLB, all like I'm talking about like the outfield, like the home run. Like, how would that? It is still like the same measurements as far as like home run height, like the wall and everything. Like, because I feel like AAA.
I think the only difference would be seating.
You look at Yankee Stadium. Well, I know Baltimore, they had a lower deck, but they built it up a little bit in like left field. Boston always had the Green Giant. Then they had like that short deck in like right field, where it's technically like, if you're 5 foot, I mean, 5 foot, you're probably gonna make that wall. I mean, so you had stadiums that have short decks, but I thought that AAA was. I mean, I know they're MLB fields because, like, obviously AAA, AA, their goals are to get to the big leagues. Mm-hmm. So as far as like measurements and lines and everything, like, is everything going to be? I guess my question is going to be fair, like fair as far as
that part's
and all thing.
Yeah, AAA stadiums have like
that's
legit.
what I was getting at. as far as
dimensions. The only thing that's going to be different is capacity. It's not going to be as big. But once again, Oakland wasn't selling out. Otherwise, they'd probably be still in Oakland. So I think crowd size, they're not really worried about that. Maybe some Sacramento fans of the AAA team may like hang around and watch some of the A's games only because it's a major league game and they'll see, other big names travel there that they don't normally see. So they'll get some fans that way. I don't know how it's going to work. Like, are some players going to be so upset they may want out and, look for deals, or how's it going to work for free agents? If you're a free agent, what are you going to be excited to go to Oakland? I mean, you're probably not excited to go to Oakland anyway, but the thought of playing at a AAA stadium for home games probably doesn't make you that much excited either. So the only way Oakland will probably bring in free agents is overpaying for them. But this owner's not going to try to spend money until the Vegas stuff works. So it's a big mess. It's a complete mess. And you feel bad for the fans. You feel bad for the players too, because they got to deal with this.
Yeah, I feel like I get it if you're like an OG like A's fan, like back in the day, and like the Coliseum. That's. I mean, like you see all these teams like these. I know what LA Clippers are going to Inglewood, I think. I think where like the Warrior Stadium is. I think they're getting their own separate stadium, which is gonna be kind of cool. Like, because obviously like the Lakers and Clippers share the same stadium for so many years. But like you see all these teams that like the old fashioned team like the Raiders. I mean, they were in Compton, right? Or no, sorry, they were in Oakland. They were in Oakland, and then they moved to Las Vegas. So I mean, you have to think of if you were like an owner, right? And like I know how you said that, the owner does what he does, whatever he does, what he does for the team, but you have to like really put into like you have to really put like your owner's hat on and be like, okay, okay, we're not gonna be winning like with players. How can we attract more players? Maybe going to Vegas will uprise that fan base. Maybe since it's Vegas, that's where the money's at. That's where sports betting is. Maybe that will attract more players. And maybe obviously they gotta figure out. Well, I don't think they're gonna be Las Vegas. I mean, are they gonna be the A's again, or I guess they're gonna stick with the A's? But because I assume
they stick with the A's because the A's are a brand with some history behind it, and that will probably make it easy for the transition. Like I know you said Vegas is where the money's at, and everything, but if he didn't spend when they were in Oakland, what are the prospects that he's just going to move to Vegas and then all of a sudden become a good owner?
Oh no, I'm not. I'm not saying. No, I'm not.
I was just saying that I know where you're coming. I know where you're coming from.
I just think that from like a new area, new vibe, just like in football, when you have the now Commanders, the Redskins, new owner. Obviously they didn't move to a different stadium, but maybe they see a new location, new scenery. But I'm definitely not saying he's gonna like get freaking Juan Soto or get these like big name bats. But I mean, maybe comparing to playing in Oakland at an old stadium with they hardly get any fans. Maybe in Vegas, be wow, like if you were a young prospect and they're the team going to Vegas, wouldn't you want to play for that new team, new vibe, new scenery, new vibe, new life?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, and plus
like I said,
I feel like that area is like
shows they're going to spend money. I would think that he's just going to be cheap in Vegas.
I mean, I feel like that area is. I think in a couple of years that area is going to be like New York of teams, man. Like, I mean, they're going to have a baseball team. They're going to have they have a hockey team, the Vegas Knights. So, I mean, and they play at the Allegiant, right? Yeah, I don't think they have their own stadium, but they don't really.
I think they do.
Or maybe they T-Mobile Arena. I don't know. I thought T-Mobile was just for like the
all the
UFC.
arenas are like. No. I think Vegas plays at T-Mobile Arena.
Okay. Yeah,
I think Allegiant is only. I think it's only the Raiders at Allegiant.
The Raiders. I feel like they do play it. I feel like they do play at Allegiant. I don't know. Maybe I mean it's definitely indoor the stadium. Like I don't know.
I mean it's rare. Yeah, I mean it's rare that hockey teams play at the same arena as a football team. So usually hockey and basketball kind of go along with each other. But yeah, so like I was saying, it's just like I've seen the concept drawings and everything like that, and the stadium looks cool. I would love to think the Vegas team would be, popular and everything. I just can't get down with the owner, and all the stories you hear out of Oakland, it just makes him look worse because was it the Lacob family who owned the Warriors tried to purchase the A's. He wouldn't sell them to them because the Warriors owner wants to keep the A's in Oakland and was going to finance a new stadium and all that kind of stuff, or the repairs to the old stadium. But this owner had no inclination to stay there. His whole plan was get them out, get them to Vegas, because like you said, Vegas has more money in it. And obviously he's just trying to fill his pocket. But I still worry about how he's going to run the team once they do get there, if they do get there.
Yeah. I mean, I guess to stick on baseball, got the playoffs coming up. Who is your well, I haven't really been paying attention to baseball. I've been paying attention to NFL more, but I mean, I know Yankees and Baltimore, they both clinched on the spot. Your team, are they still fighting for a wild card, or they're kind of out?
No, they're out.
So how do you
eliminated like yesterday?
How do you well, sorry for the loss, man.
They were supposed to win like 75 games.
From a Yankee to a Boston fan.
It's all good. They weren't supposed to compete this year. I knew that going into it. I was surprised they hung around as long as they did with the injuries, with the bullpen being terrible. Like, they had a good season. Next year, they need to make sure Trevor Story can be healthy. They need Rafael Devers healthy because he dealt with a shoulder issue all season. They need to add bullpen arms or bring some young guys up and try that. The rotation, I would like to see them add another arm to the rotation. I like Bayo. I like how I think that Cutter Crawford, he's decent as like a number 5 starter. But if they could upgrade there, I wouldn't mind that. Pavetta, hit or miss, but you kind of know what that's what Pavetta is. So I think they can be better next year. I don't know if they'll be a playoff team next year. They might be like a mid-80 win team next year. I don't know if that's enough to get in, especially looking at the teams that are in now. Like, how many of them do I see falling off? Maybe the Tigers, because the Tigers weren't expected to be what they are now. They're the biggest surprise in baseball right now.
Yeah. So how do you feel like the playoff room fits out? Who do you think? Who do you see? Potential matchups, and then after that, who is your preliminary World Series matchup? Because I mean, out in the West, I mean, Shohei Ohtani and those Dodgers and Mookie Betts. The only thing that worries me about, I mean, I think that's for any team in the playoffs, even my team. I feel like the only thing that really is a Achilles heel for that Dodgers team is just like the pitching. Not the starting pitching, I mean like the bullpen. But I mean, as far as if they're putting 10 runs every game in the playoffs and just kind of like still putting points on the board, they'll be good. But as far as if it's like a close game, like say if they were playing the Phillies, right, and it was like a 4-2 game, 7th inning or 8th inning. I don't really trust their bullpen. But I mean, if they're out in a lead, you know, if their lead is major, then their pitching is fine. I'm just worried about the short term, scores as far as like 3-2, 2-1, those short differential games. But other than that, I mean, I definitely have the Dodgers in the World Series. I mean, as far as they're like the Celtics of the NBA. I mean, I don't see anybody who can. Maybe the Phillies can give them a run at it, but I mean, so you have the Dodgers, Phillies. I mean, I have to look at the playoff race. I think are the Padres in there? No, I don't think so.
They are.
Oh, they are. Let me see.
Yep, it's Dodgers, Phillies, Brewers, Padres, Mets, Diamondbacks.
Oh, Mets made it. Oh wow, the Mets made it in, and they had a rough start.
They're in. They're not. They haven't clinched yet because they have a wild end to their season because they have to face the Brewers for 3 games and then they have to do a makeup doubleheader with the Braves on Monday, which would be the day before the playoffs start on Tuesday. And there's a chance that if the Braves win their games before that, that doubleheader might decide the last playoff team in the National League, which Mets fans are upset about because they don't think it's fair. But the Braves fans have a gripe as well because they won't have their 2 best pitchers available on that Monday. So I guess it's kind of fair either way.
Right. Then I just saw on ESPN that I mean they Dodgers won the West, but Freeman went down with an injury, so that could be definitely a worrisome thing. I'm not sure what injury he went down with. Let me see. He wore a walking boot. And a smile at the moment.
I mean, the walking boot part, that's just precautionary. Yeah, he rolled his ankle, so the walking boot's just to keep it stable so it doesn't like swell up or anything. I feel like he'll be all right by the time the playoffs roll around.
Is there like an MLB like update, like playoff picture where like potential matchups? I'm trying to look.
Potential matchups right now, it's Brewers, Diamondbacks, and then Padres, Mets, because the Dodgers and the Phillies would have the bye right now. I think those two are locked in as the bye teams. It's just whether or not the Dodgers are 1 or the Phillies are 1 because they're a game separated. But in terms of the wild card, the Brewers are locked in as the 3 seed, so they can't drop. The Padres have basically locked up the first wild card. The only things that left to determine are Mets, Diamondbacks, and Braves are fighting for 2 spots, and the Braves are 1 game behind the Mets and the Diamondbacks. And I think they each have tough series coming up. I know the Braves play the Royals, and the Royals are trying to earn a.
Royals are they've always been like a bad team as in terms of late, but they're a scary team, man.
I mean, they
were not scary, but as far as they can like they're one of those teams that are like they're like I didn't mean like it's scary, but like they're scared they can sneak up on you, like if you don't are not on your P's and Q's. I know on ESPN they said that so in the American League wildcard round, I mean they have been asterisks next to the Astros, I guess, because they're not really in yet, but they have Tigers at Astros, Royals at Orioles, ALDS Tigers, Astros versus Guardians, and then they have the asterisk next to their name, and then they have Royals /
the Astros are in.
Oh, they had the asterisk by their name, like they're not any. I don't know what.
Yeah, they clinched the 3 seed. The Mariners mathematically can't catch them, so they're the 3 seed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so they had Tigers, Astros versus. So what are they? This is confusing because they had LDS Tigers / Astros versus 2 Guardians. So
because I guess most likely the Astros win that, and then they would face the Guardians.
and then
Although the Guardians are only a game behind the Yankees, so the Guardians could end up as the number 1. There's a few things in the American League that are still up in the air. For the most part, we know that the Astros are going to be the 3, the Orioles will be the 4.
Are we number 1 right now?
Yeah, by a game over the Guardians.
Okay. I wonder how many games there are left in this in the.
There's like 3. Yeah, I think for most teams there's 3 games left, some 4.
Yeah, our last matchup is with the Pirates, and that's a 3-game series. So that's yeah. I mean, so who do you have? I mean, I guess we'll come back when like we have the set like matchups. We'll definitely go around because right now we can't really say anything preliminary because like we don't know if the Yankees are going to play who. They're number 1, and then right now. So wait, if they get number 1, that means they have like a bye until like the ALDS, right?
Yep.
So basically, that means like any team who has the 1 seed, they technically have like 1 or 2 games till the World Series, or 1 or 2. So how does that? Because I forget how the MLB. So the ALDS is 1 game, right? To like decide.
No.
It's a 3-game series, or 3.
No, ALDS is. I'm trying to think. I think baseball changed their format a little bit. So I think it's the opening round or best of 3. Hold on.
Because I thought I think maybe the wild card game
once you get to the
1
ALDS and the ALCS, those are 7 game in the World Series. But the opening round, I think, is less than 7. I think. I'd have to look that up. So I think they changed it for this year.
Yeah, look that up. I'm confused. Like as far as because is there a wild card game?
There's wild card series. So like it was a couple of years ago where the wild card was like 1 and done, and then you moved in. They changed that. They got rid of the 1 and done game because some teams complain that you play 162 games and then you play 1 game in a wild card and you could be out. So they're giving the wild card teams a better chance. I think they're best of 3. Well, hold on, I think I'm on. Let's see. 2. Yeah, wild card round is best of 3. Then the DS, I believe, are best of 5. Yeah. So then once you get to this championship series and the World Series, it goes to 7. So 3, 5, 7, 7.
3, 5, 7, 7. Okay, gotcha. So my team, the Yankees, they're number 1, right? They technically we have two series, like 1, the ALDS, and then the World Series.
No, it'd be the DS, the CS, then the World Series.
So 3 series.
Yep.
So, and what are the numbers? Is it 3, 5, 7?
No, it'd be 5, best of 5, best of 7, best of 7.
So the teams that make the number 1s, like either the Yankees or Dodgers, their bye is basically just the wild card, I guess. They don't have to really play that first round.
The 2 seed as well. 1 and 2 get a bye.
Oh, okay.
Wild card is just 3 versus 7, and 4. Hold on. No, 3 versus 6. Sorry, and then 4 versus 5.
4 versus 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are your what are your early or who do you want in the World Series as far as AL and NL? Who's your
I mean, who do I want versus who I think will get there? Probably a little different. I think who I want, I would like to see a matchup of probably maybe like Brewers Guardians, only because I like how the Brewers play. I like a couple of guys on their team. You know, they have some guys who are, you know, real gritty, tough players. I like that about them. Their pitching rotation is a little bit of a mess. That's the only thing that I think will keep them back. I think the Guardians would be interesting only because it's funny how the AL Central was the division that a lot of people kind of, you know, laughed at or didn't pay attention to. And now they're going to get 3 teams into the playoffs. I think the Guardians have surprisingly flown under the radar for being a 92-win team and only a game behind the Yankees, because not a lot of people know a lot of guys on their team. You know, they have Jose Ramirez, who I think most people kind of know. They had Steven Kwan, who for a lot of this season was hitting like 340, but nobody was really paying attention. And I just think they're playing really good baseball right now. So I kind of think the Guardians have a good shot in the American League. Only thing might be his experience against, especially a team like the Astros, who it seems like it's been a while since we remember the Astros not being in the playoffs. And a lot of the guys that we know from the Astros are there. Still Bregman, still Altuve, still Alvarez. Like it's the same group minus a few guys. So if I had to make an official pick, before the season, I had the Orioles making it, but the Orioles aren't playing well right now. I don't know if I can trust them in the playoffs. I might go Guardians and Padres. I think because of what I saw last year, where 2 wildcard teams made the World Series, I think it's very easy to pick the 1 or 2 seeds to make it because they are the best teams. But when it comes to baseball, you usually kind of ride the hot hand going into the playoffs, because it seems like in baseball playoffs, like momentum is definitely a serious thing. Yeah, I'll lock in Guardians versus Padres, and I think the Guardians win the World Series.
Okay. That's the so you don't see the you see the Padres upsetting the Dodgers with how hot.
I just think, well, I think the Phillies aren't playing well right now, so I don't like teams that like limp their way into the playoffs. I think with the Dodgers, I just think that there's something that could be said that they've had this great team for all these years, and they haven't been able to get over the hump. And the only one that they have, of course, was the COVID shortened season where they only played like 60 games in the regular season. Then they got in the playoffs and they won that World Series. I think there's a lot of pressure on the Dodgers to win it all. I just don't know if they actually get it done. And look, I like Mookie Betts. You know, he's a former Red Sox player. Like, I want him to do well, but it's just something about the Dodgers that they come up short in October for whatever reason. And I think that happens again this year. I think the Padres are a team that a lot of people, because of last year and how much of a disaster they were last year, didn't take them seriously going into this year. And I'd be just to let you know, like, I'm not a Machado fan in any way. So even rooting or picking the Padres is like tough for me because I don't want to see Machado do well. But I just feel like they have something. I don't know. Something is in their favor. I just have a feeling they make the World Series out of the National League. I would say look out for the Mets potentially, because the Mets kind of had to go on a crazy run here after the All-Star break to get into the postseason. But the Mets have to get in. Because like I said, if it comes down to that doubleheader on Monday against the Braves, because of the Mets' recent history, there's a good chance the Braves sweep that and get in. So that's kind of my thinking around it. Yeah, I just think, yeah. And for the Yankees, I know a lot of Yankee fans obviously would love to see the Yankees get in. I don't know. It's just, I think one thing that's working for them is they wouldn't see the Astros, who've been their kryptonite, until the ALCS. But I have the Guardians potentially beating the Astros before that. So then when you get to a Yankees team that could potentially be in the ALCS, a lot of Yankee fans will think that it's finally their year to get back to the World Series. I think what some people have to remember is I believe the Guardians have a really good pitching staff. I think. Yeah, they have a decent pitching staff, and that's kind of been the Yankees' kryptonite. Like, they don't have guys that blow you away, but they have decent starting pitching. They're also proven, so that's something that could be working against them come October. But I just
as far as
the Guardians,
as far as the Yankees,
well, the Guardians, because the Guardians. I've always said the Yankees' biggest issue come October are really good pitching staffs.
Yeah,
just killing their offense, and that's normally the Astros. But I don't know. I don't think the Astros get to the championship series to face the Yankees. I think the Guardians knocked them off before that. So if you're looking at that, I just think look, here's the weird part about baseball this year. There's so many scenarios I could see happening that is kind of tough to pick a World Series team. And I'm basically taking a shot in the dark on these two teams. Because like I said, the way the Tigers are playing right now, if the Tigers found their way into the World Series, I would be like, okay, I could see that. The Royals, usually when the Royals are good, they do well in the postseason, and then they kind of fall off for 4 or 5 years. You got Bobby Witt, who's trying to make an MVP case, although I think that's a little bit out the window now. But if they were to make it, I would be like, okay. Part of me still wants to go with the Orioles because I picked them before the season. They're kind of banged up right now, and I think that's going to expose them once we get to October. That's my worry with them. So I think process of elimination, I got to go Guardians in the American League. I mean, I know you're probably going to pick. I'm sure.
I mean, I'm probably going to go with. I mean, that that is a good pick though. I mean, that's a sleeper, But like you said, there's so many. There's so many new teams that are in the playoffs, a lot of new players, like Milwaukee, Guardians, but
there's a lot of flawed teams, I'll say. There's no clear-cut team that you look at and go, they have a great pitching staff, they have a good offense, they have a good bullpen. None of these teams have that. And that's where it gets interesting. Normally you get to October, it's about your bullpen.
Yeah, how deep
pitching staffs, managers don't really stick with your starters that long.
Yeah, that's with any professional playoff. I mean, you're a Celtics fan, man. That's, you can say that for any sport as far as playoff. Depth is very important. I mean, with your team, Pritchard and White, they're. I mean, even he's a floater as far as a starter and a bench player, but you got White. I mean, and so you can say that with any playoff team or any playoff sport. Depth is very needed, especially in baseball, where, like you said, GMs or general managers want to keep their pitchers fresh, because I'm not sure when it comes to this like regular season, like managers can. I mean, I know there's pitching rotations. Like, say Garrett Cole pitches tonight, for example, he won't pitch like next Wednesday. So I'm not sure playoff like as far as say if Nestor pitched game one, right? Like, when's the next time? When the next game? Can managers kind of like pick and choose when they want their starters to pitch in the playoff game, or like how does that work?
I
Okay,
mean, they
obviously,
can.
because obviously a
Like, okay,
manager has
so
to,
I see what you're saying. Like,
yeah,
so
like can they like
for like wild card, right? It's only a 3-game series, so you're not worried about your number 4 and number 5 starter. Those guys just kind of become extensions of your bullpen. When you get to a 5-game series, most managers kind of stick with their top 3. And then game 4, you might go back to your ace, and then game 5, you might go back to your number 2. 7-game series, managers are real picky with that. It kind of depends on how well they have a handle on their team. They may stick with just 3 starters, and then like a 4th game, they might throw the 4th starter out there. But trust me, the first instance he gets in trouble, the manager is going to pull him and go to the bullpen. And then the 5th game, you go back to your ace. The deeper you get into the playoffs, the more managers will try to lean on their number 1 and number 2 pitcher. Because the last thing you want to do is lose a series because you had your number 5 out on the mound and he got knocked around. So for the most part, your top 3 pitchers are the ones you'll see most of the playoff run. Your number 4, you'll see a little bit. Your number 5 starter, you'll probably only see them as a bullpen arm.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna go with. I mean, the matchups that the baseball or most of the baseball community want to see. Who are the hottest teams in baseball as far as like
Are you
record
about to
wise?
say Yankees Dodgers?
Yankees Dodgers, man.
Nobody wants to see Yankees Dodgers, except for Well, I don't even know Dodgers fans necessarily want to see the Yankees.
I feel like Dodgers want to see that because wait, and because the one and one thing that makes it special this year is because as far as I do want to be Yankee. I want him to be extended, but I think this playoff run. Well,
there's a 10% chance that dude stays.
Let me finish. I feel like this playoff run, depending on how deep we go, I think it determines. I feel like the bar for Soto as far as money is set. I feel like he knows his worth. But teams are going to be watching how he does in the playoffs. I mean, obviously he's a World Series champion with the Nationals, but so obviously he's a proven winner. But I mean, a lot of teams are going to. Well, I haven't really heard any teams as far as outside the Yankees and Mets. But
I'm about to say, just got to look across town. The Mets are ready to offer him big money.
But I mean, a lot of eyes. A lot of
eyes. His agent is.
I don't. I think I heard his name.
Scott Boras is going to chase whoever offers him the most. He will not care.
I mean, you don't think I mean, depending on how deep they go, you know, the Yankees are going to just give him the extension.
I think the Yankees are going to have a number in mind.
I think the reason why the Yankees are past it. I mean, because the Yankees they could have signed him right away. Like once they signed him, like they could have extended him right away. But I think that they're waiting on, I mean, obviously they know the regular season and Juan Soto he's good. I think they're waiting on to see, can he carry those home runs and the way he plays in the season into the postseason, and then if we get to the big series, I think we're gonna lock them up. But yeah, the only competitive team, or not competitive, the competitor for the stakes for Juan Soto is a Mets. I haven't really heard any other team. Maybe the Phillies. I heard like a rumor about the Phillies, but I don't know about that. But he wants to go to a winner. At the end of the day, and I feel like for any baseball fan that's either a fan of Yankees, Juan Soto, just the individual, or just a baseball fan, I feel like every fan wants him to go to a team that wants to win. I mean, I don't think the Dodgers have money, but maybe Dodgers will be a suitor. but they have, they have. I mean, because Dodgers, they go for everyone.
I cannot see the Dodgers signing him.
I can't
That
see
would
them, but
be
you never know.
yeah.
You never know. I mean, I didn't think that he was going to go to the. Did you see Shohei going to the Dodgers? I mean, obviously, yeah, probably like.
Yeah. I wasn't rooting for it, but I knew the Dodgers were going to be in play. I kind of thought he was going to go to the Mariners.
Yeah, I don't think he would. I don't think. Yeah, I think Dodgers were the best bet for that. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like the Yankees are holding out just to see how he does and see how the team overall does in general. I mean, because because we all know the backbone of this team is Aaron Judge. And Soto is like, the second superstar. I mean, I do know that we had some good moves, or we made a good move in free agency or trade deadline with Jazz Chisholm. I like him. Solid hitter, good infielder. I won't be surprised if next year if Gleyber Torres is off the team because Jazz Chisholm maybe takes his spot, because I just think that I like Torres as a hitter, but as far as defense, he is. I've seen so many plays where he's. I mean, me and you both could have made those easy catches, like pop flies, have the glove in his hand, and lets the ball drop. I don't know. So I think the Yankees. I mean, if Juan Soto, and I quote, I mean, at the beginning of the season, he said that. I think one of the reporters said that, hey, do you want to extension with the Yankees, or how do you think that's gonna go? He's like, I mean, they know where to call me. They know where to call my agent. So maybe
that's the key. They know where to call his agent. Number one, Scott Boras was never going to extend Juan Soto during the season. Scott Boras always goes to free agency. So even if the Yankees wanted to, it was never going to happen. Two, Boras is going to chase every penny he can in free agency. There's a third team that you might not be thinking of that I'm going to tell you right now could be a dark horse for Juan Soto. The Giants. Remember, the Giants thought they had Aaron Judge a couple of years ago. The Giants want to spend money on somebody. I don't know who else they could even think of spending this kind of money on outside of Juan Soto. So I think that's a team you might have to watch out for besides the Mets.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna hit the Giants. I just didn't think that they were like a winning team. I mean, I know they have some young pieces and stuff.
The Giants win.
Yeah, about those. But yeah, I think that yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Yankees and Dodgers. I just think that, but like I said earlier, like I'm not really like I have high hopes for my team, but I feel like I said earlier, like I feel like the only glaring issue is just pitching. As far as bullpen, and then the closer, as far as like Clay Holmes. So
that guy can't be your closer though. He can't be the closer in the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if it was like the start of the season when he was good, but he just like wasn't. He fell off, but I mean, I'm not worried about the hitting and putting up points on the board. I'm worried about if we get too cocky with the lead, and then our bullpen is shaky.
So you're not worried about the lineup in the playoffs?
I mean, I'm curious to see what Aaron Boone does with the lineup. Did he do left, right, right, left switch, left, right, like he does? Like, it all depends on like what the. I mean, you can really have maybe Torres leading off, or LeMahieu leading off, and then Aaron Judge or Juan Soto going 2 and 3, and then doing DH.
Nobody's worried about Judge and Soto. Like those are the two guys in the lineup that opposing teams will worry about.
Right.
Who outside of that can you trust in the playoffs?
I mean,
that's going to be their biggest problem.
I mean, Jazz, he's a good. I mean, obviously we haven't seen him in the uniform in the playoffs, but
when's the last time you saw him in the playoffs in general?
I mean, what team he was on though?
Okay, so You don't know how he'll
No,
react.
I'm just saying how. But I'm saying like what I've seen from him, like he gives a boost to the lineup. You know what I'm saying? Like
Fair.
he reminds me of like a when we used to have Alfonso Soriano. You do that can do a good outfielder or a good infielder, lefty.
I'd probably say Soriano's a little better, but I see where you're going.
Yeah. Soriano is definitely better and quicker, I think. But as far as like comparison, as far as giving that jolt, I mean, I give that for Yankee comparison. But yeah, I think I have. I'm pretty. I mean, I'm definitely confident in the Dodgers making it to the World Series because they're the best team. I mean, they've been going back and forth with the Yankees as far as the best team in baseball. But but Dodgers toe to toe. Like, I don't think I don't think anyone can knock them off. Especially if Mookie Betts is going off next Muncy. They paid him big dollars. I mean, we'll see how like Freddie Freeman does as far as the injury and how quick he gets back on the field. But I mean they have Yamamoto. I mean they have really everyone. They have no excuse not to get to the World Series. I think that. I mean, obviously Shohei signed for a long-term deal, but I think that they signed Shohei like this year because they want to get to the big game, the big dance, and I don't think that I can. I mean, I can feel confident, 100% confident that I don't see anyone giving them trouble in the playoffs. I mean, I might be shocked. I mean, they might. I mean, the only way I can see them losing a series or is if they beat themselves with pitching. But if they're stacking runs,
That's a bit disrespectful to the other teams nationally that they're going to beat themselves. I think there are teams nationally that can beat them.
I mean, do you think the Padres can go toe to toe with them?
Yeah. They play in the same division. They've seen them enough. The Padres know what the Dodgers are. I think the Brewers can if they get their pitching straight. I think the Diamondbacks showed us last season when they get to the playoffs, they are a tough out. So I don't think it's going to be that easy for the Dodgers to get there. And the Dodgers have had the same talented team for several years now.
They have
been able to do it.
There's
got to be something to that they for whatever reason they get to October, they underperform.
You're right about that. There's no arguing about that. Yeah, I mean, so that's I know we let's get into some NFL talk, man. So we're on week 4. And then I'm gonna let you talk because I'm gonna go get a tissue real quick, but for my nose. But let me set the tone real quick for the next segment. I mean, we're week 4 into the season. A lot of good teams. I mean, like Russell Wilson went down with the injury, and then Justin Fields stepped up and was a QB1 for the Steelers. He looks like he should be. I mean, as a Ravens fan, I feel like as an AFC North division rivalry, I think that their best bet is to go with Justin Fields. I think that system. I mean, and then again, it's early. We're only week 4, but I think like that system. They might need it like maybe at the deadline. Maybe try to get like I don't know who they can get for like another receiver. But I think he needs just one more, maybe 2 in the off season, maybe 1 in the free agency or 1 in trading line, 1 in the off season to get like another receiver for Justin Fields. But I mean he has he's in a system where he can strive. I mean, look, the dude has 0 interceptions so far. He's been putting up points on the board. A lot of fans were like, "Oh, Justin Fields is not ready. He's going to be QB." I thought he was ready to be a starter for Pittsburgh. But I think that he's definitely a story. How do you feel about And then while you answer, I'm gonna go get a tissue for my nose. How do you feel about the Chiefs right now? Because obviously Kelsey, I mean, obviously they have pieces. They have Worthy. I mean, obviously Hollywood Brown won't be back until like November, December time because he has surgery. So and then you have Rasheed Rice, Pacheco. I mean, they're kind of beaten up as far as injuries as far as Pacheco because he won't be there. He won't be back until like mid season with that knee, or maybe like in a few weeks. So how do you feel about the Chiefs right now? Mahomes, yeah, they're 3-0, but they are looking shady. Kelsey's not really getting the touches, but I get that he's a top tight end. He's like Mahomes said himself, he's getting double teams, sometimes triple teams on defense. So he's not open all the time. Look, I have him on my fantasy. I'm thinking about trading him. It's like I'm not trading him, but like I mean, you see Andrews. All these tight ends are not really getting the love. So is it due to them not getting open, or due to just their attraction to the defense? Because obviously, both. Well, Kittle, he's out too for the Niners. So a lot of tight ends. I mean, basically the top three. My bad. Laporte is out. So you have 4 of the top tight ends, either one hurt, 2 not getting the targets. But when they're all getting the love, they can open up the offense for all quarterbacks of those 4 teams. So there's so much we can dive into with the NFL right now. Like, so how do you feel about the Chiefs right now? Like, do you think that do you think it's too early in the season to say, okay, this and that's not working? Or how do you see right now this current team? How do you see this panning out? I mean, obviously Mahomes is gonna be Mahomes, but he had he doesn't he lead the league right now with interceptions, I think, or like 3 or 4 picks, I think. And they've been bad throws.
Interceptions have been an issue with Mahomes, yes. Yeah. So when I think about the Chiefs, they're back-to-back champs. I'm not going to sit here and overreact to the first 3-4 weeks of the season with them because, one, they've had 2 long seasons, and I feel like this year they are slowly trying to work their way back up. He talked about Kelsey. I kind of starting to agree with some of the sentiment from some of these NFL analysts where they think Kelsey kind of came into the season out of shape and he's working himself back into shape. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kelsey has like a really good second half to the season. And the injury to Pacheco obviously isn't ideal for them because Pacheco was having a good start to the year. But even with all of these issues that people come up with, Mahomes doesn't look like Mahomes and Kelsey doesn't look like Kelsey. They're 3-0. Like there's something to be said for a team that just knows how to win and how to navigate a 17-game season. You're not going to be completely healthy all year. I think the Xavier Worthy addition is going to play off for them more and more as we get into the season, and Andy Reid and the coaches there learn different ways to get him the ball, because he's a guy, you get him the ball out in space, he's going to make guys miss. That's an added element to the offense that they haven't had necessarily the past couple of seasons. Rice is playing really well right now, and defensively, Spags is doing a great job with that defense. So yes, they may not look like the Chiefs of last year or the year before, but as Jory says, like the experience is there, they know how to win, and until you tell me who is the team in the AFC that's going to knock them off, I can't sit here and overreact to their slow start, even though they're 3-0. they're gonna get better as the season goes on, and I think that should be the worry for some of these teams in the AFC. They'll start clicking, and then you'll see how dangerous the Chiefs actually are.
I don't know. I mean, there are some plays where I saw that, like Kelsey. I mean, I know like ESPN and they kind of like pan the camera over to him because I know the whole Taylor Swift, the whole all that. But there's some times where he was just like frustrated, where like there's some plays where he was open and Patrick Mahomes just wasn't. But I know I get it. He's not supposed to like force a pass to a guy if you're not open. But there are some plays where I saw Kelsey, he was just wide open. So do you think? I mean, like Jory said, and what's up, G? Is this G one of your guys? GAI? Oh,
nope. I do not recognize that name. I assumed it was somebody you might have known.
Never. Don't
might
know.
Have just stumbled upon it. What's up?
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks for the support, man. Do you follow the NFL, NBA, or MLB, brother? And then Kevin said, "I'm assuming the Chiefs. That's my second favorite team. Who's your first favorite team?" You can't really. I mean, I guess you can have. I guess you won't be like a Freddie and have like 5 teams. But who's your first team, brother? And then Jory, yeah, they're experienced, but I just don't. I mean, obviously, you know, like I said earlier, the season is still young. But
well, I mean, look, you're talking about issues with Kelsey. Weren't there issues with Kelsey last year? And then look at the playoff run he had.
Well, I think this year is different because last year was him kind of like dropping balls, but he's not even getting the balls. Pause.
And they're winning still, though.
They are, but they're kind of. I mean, I know a win's a win in the record books, but the wins are kind of like, like you're going toe to toe with the Chiefs or with the Falcons, like in week 2 or week 3. I mean, Cousins almost beats you. Some could say
almost
that
does not get you a W.
You're right, but some can debate or some can argue that the play came down to like look at the Ravens game. I know we had our flaws in that game. I mean, we were maybe likely had a white cleat from being able to win that game. Okay, the Bengals and Chiefs game.
Okay.
Comes down to a
teams
flag.
Find ways to win, even when they're not playing their absolute best.
A lot of people.
Right now,
a lot of people. I mean, and I'm not gonna be one of those people, but on Twitter and other places, I've seen that some of the refs are kind of working with the Chiefs.
Yeah,
and
I see that every week as well. Like they need.
Speak your piece, my brother.
Those people go find a hobby. Because I experienced this when the Patriots went on their run. Every time they won, everybody wanted to jump on and talk about, oh, Brady got this, and that. They are winning these games. Everybody was like, oh, the PI against the Bengals wasn't whatever. The dude got there a little early. Was it a tough call? Sure, but it was PI. Then it was, the refs bailed them out against the Ravens. No, they didn't.
I mean, no, they didn't. But there were some plays where, and even Stanley, I know he got a lot of calls. I think what's that illegal formation where it's that the refs are trying to really.
Yeah, I can't blame the refs if the dude hasn't figured out where to line up.
But my point is, like, if you, I watched the press conference or like the interview that they had after that game, and I know some teams like they're at training camp and out like the practices before the team started, they're working with their refs, especially the O line of how to line up. And Stanley, and I'm not even trying to blame the refs or whatever. We lost the game. Lamar missed a wide open Zay Flowers for a touchdown. But that's not on the refs. I'm just saying that like there were some plays where I saw on the Chiefs O line, they're doing the same stuff like bowing their head, moving around. The rest didn't call it, but when Stanley did it, I think they were only choosing him because they
the bowing the head stuff ain't got nothing to do with a legal formation. He
or
was
whatever.
lined up too far back from the ball.
I mean, there were so many plays where I saw like the Chiefs O-line were backed up, and how the hell does a ref allow Spags to run down the sideline and call a timeout?
Okay, once again with that one,
I mean, come on, bro. Like
people who were there said Reed was calling a timeout. Nobody was noticing Reed, so Spagnuolo was running up to the ref.
And they allowed the timeout.
Get his attention. Did the Ravens not get a timeout as well?
If Zach Orr did that,
and let's be honest, before that play, the Ravens were scrambling to get lined up to figure out what they were going to run. The timeout helped them. Now, the play coming out of the timeout, you got to tell me what that was. Like 2-yard pass to the flat when you needed, I can't remember, it was like 3rd and maybe like 6 or something. And that was the play they came out of that timeout with, but Ravens fans were complaining about the timeout. You got to make that one make sense for me. I don't get that at all. Better play call. That's what y'all needed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like that, the 3 wins the Chiefs. Oh yeah, like you said, a win's a win. No matter how you cut, slice it, divide it, a win's a win. I just don't think they're. I mean, obviously, as the season grows, and like Jory said, like the Chiefs are an experienced team, and I feel like once they get more healthy pieces back, like Hollywood back, and Pacheco back, they're going to be good. But right now, like Kelsey's getting frustrated. I mean, I'm not sure not at Mahomes, but maybe just not because he's not getting targeted, like Mahomes said, like. Maybe they're double teaming him.
You name a wide receiver or tight end that doesn't get frustrated when they don't get the ball. Most of them do. So I don't even think Mahomes even cares about that. Now, if they were losing and he wasn't getting the ball, then yeah, it probably would be a bigger story. But they're winning. He's not putting up the numbers that he wants to. But like I said, last year was the same thing. And then as we got close to the playoffs, he looked like vintage Kelsey, rode that into the playoffs, and it led them to a Super Bowl. So I feel like it's not that big of a deal. He may be more frustrated with himself because maybe he's not getting open quick enough to get the ball. That could be
you see him on the sideline, like he looks like he's just out of it. Like you look at him on the sideline, he looks like he's just like dispatched from the game.
They'll be all right.
Maybe that's just me. I'm just looking at it and be like, he's just like distressed or whatever.
They'll be all right.
Let me see the standings. I mean, if I'm a Chiefs, the first 3 wins are 27-20, the Ravens, Bengals 26-25. And 22 to Falcons against the Falcons. I mean, that's not really. But then again, it's early. I'm looking at it's the stats and everything.
They're 3-0. Plenty of teams in the league aren't 3-0.
I think that they're ugly. They're ugly 3 wins, but
okay. There's still 3 wins. I don't care. I wouldn't care if they won 9-6, all 3 of them. Still 3 wins.
True. That was a win. But then I'm not gonna go there.
All right, so let me put this question to you. Since
I'm not gonna go there.
Since you are worried about Kansas City, who do you see? I guess if it came down to a playoff game, who do you see beating them right now? Since you're so worried about Kansas City,
are you talking about like an AFC, like to get to the Super Bowl? I don't know. We're in week 4. Bengals are 0-3.
I'm
Chargers.
just saying, you are worried about Kansas City, so you got to tell me, who do you see better than them or better equipped than them to win in January or even in February?
I mean, I don't know. We're this. I mean, if I say who you think I'm gonna say, you can say, "Oh, it's a homer pick."
There's not a chance in the world you think you're going to throw that name out there. I'm going to let that go.
I mean, I feel
Don't
like
do it to yourself. Don't do it to yourself.
I mean, who do you think? Who do you think?
Don't do it, man. Don't do it.
Who do you think right now? Can you
Look, I'm not.
It's too early because
I
mean,
still say if you're gonna sit there and put the teams in the AFC and you're gonna rank them.
I mean, you think it'd be a Jets with Aaron Rodgers if healthy? Should
please. There's a lot of quarterbacks I trust when it comes to the playoffs a lot more than Aaron Rodgers.
There's two quarterbacks right now that I see dethroning the Chiefs.
Okay.
Bills and Josh Allen and Ravens Lamar Jackson. Right now.
Burrows is the only. We saw the Lamar experience last year. What makes you think it'd be any different this year?
I mean, I feel like we got Derrick Henry.
As Jory said, it's basically Buffalo. I'll give a couple other teams maybe a shot. Like the Steelers defense, I think is legit. It could give Kansas City problems. I don't know how I would feel about Justin Fields going up against a Spagnuolo defense. That'd be my issue with Pittsburgh. I think the Chargers are interesting, but Herbert is hurt right now, and Herbert's always hurt. He's got a high ankle sprain, which is probably going to linger all year. But what Harbaugh's doing with that team, I can appreciate it, but I'm not going to put them over the Chiefs. It's basically Buffalo's the only team I see right now,
but
possibly having a shot.
Buffalo can. Obviously they're in a division where right now, with Tua out, and then now they're back out. Your Patriots and then the Jets. There really is no other, and that's their division to win. But it's so. I think we've seen a micro sample of. We're only four games into the season, so I think that Buffalo can. I don't know what their schedule is looking like. I know they play us this week. Then they have their division games. So I gotta look at the schedule because before I make say anything. Hold on. Standings, Buffalo. So they have Ravens this week, Texans. They should beat the Jets. They should beat the Titans. Seahawks. Mike McDaniel, he has their team, ready to rock. They should beat Miami. They have a fairly outside of. I would say us, the Seahawks, the Chiefs. The bearing if Debo gets back healthy and Kittle and them and CMC, the Niners, the Lions. They're all tough games. Those other games are just like the Miami Jets.
Mm-hmm.
So
I also can say I've seen Josh Allen go one-on-one with Patrick Mahomes and stick with him. So I have a feeling if he gets that opportunity again, he's not going to shy away from it. That's why I feel like there's only a couple of quarterbacks that if they got to a playoff series against Mahomes, I feel like could make it happen.
So who are the couple quarterbacks? Allen.
Problem is the Bengals are a mess defensively, and they probably don't have a shot to get there. But if you're telling me that you needed an offense that could put up points to stick with a Chiefs offense, you give me Burrow, Chase, and Higgins, I think you can do it because of Burrow's ability. Like I said, I hate their defense right now, and I think that's why they're 0-3. That defense stinks, and it's probably going to railroad their whole season. So right now, it's Buffalo for me, and then it's like a wide gap until to the next team that I think could go in to Arrowhead, or let's say the Bills get the 1 seed. Going to Orchard Park in January is not easy. That Buffalo crowd is hostile. So even if Kansas City had to go there, that would be a tough game for Kansas City. Some of these other places, Mahomes can go there and can do his thing, and I don't think that he's really worried about places like that. But Orchard Park is a little different. I mean, I know you want to bring up Baltimore, but like I said, we saw it last year. I can't get down with that again this year and think it's going to be any different than what we saw last year.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like you said, it's open. It's open. It's open right now. I mean,
it is, and it's not.
I mean, can you with confidence say that? Like right now, you can say that Burrows and the Bengals can knock off the Bengals or the Chiefs right now in the playoff match. They can't.
I just said quarterbacks that I know can go toe to toe with Mahomes and stick with him. Burrow and Allen have shown that they can do it. Name another quarterback in the AFC who has shown that they can beat Mahomes or even stick with him in a playoff series. I mean, a playoff game, let's say in Arrowhead. Because once again, your boy couldn't do it in Baltimore. You think he's traveling to Arrowhead and getting it done? No. He's not.
No, man. That's all.
I know. I know it's not happening. That's all. Because look, the Ravens defense basically locked down the Chiefs offense. And once again, on your home field, Lamar couldn't make enough plays to beat them. That was their shot to prove it. They failed. And look, Baltimore's 1-2. The Chiefs are 3-0. There's a good chance, all things considered, if they face off again, that game's in Arrowhead. And like I said, I don't trust Lamar. I don't trust Monken. I don't trust Harbaugh to get it done in Arrowhead against Andy Reid and Mahomes and them. Sorry. I just don't. With that secondary as well, no. Worthy and Rice will probably have like 100 yards each against that secondary. Just saying.
So how do you feel? So how do you feel about your team, Kyle? The Patriots. How do you feel about your team right now? Your current state.
I'm fine with them. They're 1-2. They got the win against the Bengals. Their defense looks good. The offensive line has their issues. They're supposed to get, one of their young linemen back this week. We'll see what that looks like. They have a tough game against the Niners, but Drake May is a week closer to starting, and I'm excited to see what he can do. He played a little against the Jets. I thought the throw that he made to Pop Douglas over the middle showed what he can do. It was a great anticipatory throw over the middle, and he moved around in the pocket slightly to create space for him to throw the ball. I think that's where the intrigue is there with him. Plus, he's able to run a little bit more and a little better than Jacoby Brissett is. So even if there was to be pressure, I have more faith that May could bounce out of the pocket and make a throw downfield than Brissett. And like I said, through 3 games, I'm not mad at Brissett. Brissett has played tough. He's taken a lot of hits. He keeps getting up. It's just that I think with what May's been doing in practice and the responsibilities that they're giving him, I think we're getting close to that time where you just make the switch and kind of live with what happens. I said before the season, I expected to see May in October. I still think that's kind of where they're trending. By like mid-October, probably looking at like the Jags game in London, I think by then Drake May will be the starter. And why not start out against the Jags? Because the Jags are a mess. They stink right now.
Yeah, you're right about that. All right, let's dive into so I guess we can dive into before the week 4 matchups, like just go like just do like a little brush up of like week 3. What were your reactions or overreactions to like the week 3 matchups or week 3 uh scorecard, I guess you would say. Any games that surprised you, like struck you?
Surprised me. Trying to think back now. I don't know, because now we're kind of getting to the point where the Vikings no longer surprise me. I just think it's kind of like the Purdy effect with Shanahan. Purdy plays well. It seems like Darnold's finally found a coach in O'Connell that brings the best out of him. But yeah, you know what? I was surprised by that. Let me take that back. The fact that Minnesota beat Houston 34-7, that was surprising because I am high on Houston. And probably a lot of that was because I didn't see a lot of Minnesota going into that game. But Minnesota looks legit. You know, Brian Flores has the defense playing really well, and Sam Darnold is playing his best football right now. It's going to be interesting to see how long Darnold plays at this level, but I don't know. With that defense and what Darnold's doing now, I'm definitely taking Minnesota much more seriously right now than I did before the season. Yeah. So that was probably maybe the most surprising result for me from week 3.
I think my surprise was probably the Panthers, man. The way they sat Bryce Young.
Okay, so yeah, that part was surprising that they sat him, but the fact that they won didn't surprise me.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Carson Palmer is a quarterback?
No, Dalton.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. Woo!
You got the Bengals on your mind, man.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I mean, didn't they both have like red hair? I don't know, man. That was funny. Oh my god.
Bengals live rent free in your head, man.
Carson Palmer, man. And he thought, I thought he was a commentator, man. Like I didn't even know he was back in the league. But you know,
I didn't either.
Like he yeah, let's talk about that. Like how do you feel about Bryce Young, man? Like do you think that
Carolina's a mess? That's all you that's the only thing you need to know.
Like can you really obviously like Bryce Young is still young. It's like his second year in the league. But like can you really fault that on Bryce Young? Like it's up to the team to get the right pieces around him.
That's what I'm saying. Carolina is a mess. We saw this. Baker
Mayfield.
But look, Baker Mayfield went there, struggled. Baker Mayfield's playing well in Tampa Bay. Sam Darnold was there, struggled, playing well in Minnesota. Problem is, they bring in Canales, who Canales didn't pick Bryce Young. We don't know if Canales likes Bryce Young. Bryce Young has to go somewhere with a coach who probably is stable, with an offense stable, with an organization that's stable. Carolina doesn't have any of that. I don't know how many young quarterbacks necessarily would thrive in Carolina right now. So the fact that they turned to Andy Dalton and Dalton's first game looks the way it did, yeah, Dalton's been around for a while. So it was probably easier for him. I don't think Bryce Young needs to play another game in Carolina because I feel like that's clearly that ship has sailed. He needs to get to another situation. I'm trying to think, like looking around the league, where should he try to get to? That's the toughest part. I mean, if he goes to the Giants, you have Malik Neighbors. It's not bad. But the Giants are a bit of a mess. I don't know. Look, if I'm Brian Dable and you told me I could either have Daniel Jones or Bryce Young, I'd take my chances with Bryce Young.
Me too. I feel like
that might actually be the place because Dayball is a good chance he probably gets fired after this year. But at least you're bringing in a new coach that can kind of pair them together.
They had Malik Neighbors, but being
but Malik Neighbors is something you build off of. Next draft, you get another wide receiver, you get some old linemen, you could make that work.
But they didn't like another star receiver. I mean, I know they got Wando Robinson, but like he hasn't really. I mean, I knew he was injury. He had the injury that set him back. But I mean, who are their targets? I mean, other than Neighbors. I mean, Shepard.
I mean, Slayton made a couple of catches. Robinson's problem is, for some reason, he gets the ball in his hand. He doesn't secure it for whatever reason. There was like 2 or 3 times he caught it, and in the process of bringing it to his body and running, just dropped it. Like, whatever is going on between the ears with him, like, he needs to figure that out. I don't think the Giants wide receiver group is terrible. It's just that
they got Hyatt, right?
Good.
They got Hyatt.
Yeah, and Hyatt's a young guy that they drafted who has shown some ability. So I think if Bryce Young went there and you told him that you got Neighbors and Hyatt to build off of,
I mean, they can get that
over Adam Thielen and whatever Carolina has.
I mean, I wouldn't go there now because that O-line is trash. They didn't get the O-line fixed first before the receivers.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You got Neighbors, you got Hyatt from the past 2 drafts. Next year, O-line should be the focus of their draft. And then if Bryce Young is behind that line, because their defense is still pretty good, I think that's a spot he could go. I'm not sure with the Daniel Jones money and everything that's wrapped up in that, like how that would work, but that's probably the best place right now that he would probably actually get an opportunity next year. I mean, do you want to go maybe to LA, back up Stafford for like a year or 2 and then take over it with the Rams? I mean, at least you'd have McVay, who's a better offensive coach than Canales, but who's to say McVay is committed there once Stafford leaves? I don't know. Then outside of that, with the Raiders, because the Raiders have their own issues at quarterback. There's limited places for him to go.
I can see him going to the Browns.
Yeah, but the Browns have so much tied up into Watson that they're kind of locked.
No, yeah, but
they're kind of locked into that.
If someone would have asked me, like this how you said Daniel Jones or Bryce Young and Deshaun Watson, I'd say Bryce Young. I mean, I say Bryce. I mean him.
But that's what I'm saying. Because of the money owed Watson, they're kind of forced to play.
No, I'm just saying I'm saying hypothetically. Like I would say, like I want him.
I know what you're saying. Like that would obviously be
they can't do it.
Good defense. They have Jerry Jeudy. They have Amari Cooper.
Is Chubb back? Is Chubb back?
Not yet. They're probably back.
They got mid-season. They got Jerry Jeudy. I mean, Amari Cooper. They have the right.
David Njoku. Like it's an offense that if he could get there, you would feel like he should be able to do well. It's just that Watson contract and everything would be blocking him. I don't know if that's good for Bryce Young to go somewhere where he gets stuck behind a guy who's probably locked into the position for a couple of years. I think Bryce Young needs to play, but he needs to play in a system that makes sense for him. And right now, Carolina ain't it.
It'd be interesting to see where he would, because technically, isn't he on a 5-year contract? Because aren't rookies on like a 5-year deal?
I mean, it's a rookie deal. You can trade that. It's not that big of a deal.
Because Bryce Young is not really a bad. It's not a bad QB.
We don't know.
I mean, yeah.
We don't know what Bryce Young is. That's the problem. Second year in, he's in a situation that's just so bad around him. We don't know how to evaluate him. That's the problem.
I mean, look at Justin Fields. I mean, he was in that system in Chicago. I mean, he got out of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Bryce Young needs that.
But where would he go? I mean, because the Falcons, they got Cousins, then they got Penix.
Yeah, Falcons would be out.
Bears are Bears.
The Bears just did it to Fields. They're doing it to Caleb Williams. I wouldn't subject Bryce Young to that either. You got Seattle with Geno Smith, who's a little bit older, but they have Sam Howell, who's still a young guy. I don't know what Sam Howell's contract looks like. Maybe Seattle, if he were to be Geno's backup, because I don't know how many years Geno has as a starter. Geno's like 33 right now. He's kind of getting towards the end of it. Yeah, I can't really think of many more.
Maybe Miami.
Miami just gave Tua all that money.
I know, but he's hurt.
I also don't think Tua retires. I think Tua's going to try to play out that contract. Unless he becomes like...
But can you see him sitting behind him, learning? But then again, how you going to learn by someone who always gets hurt?
Exactly. The coaching there would help.
Imagine Bryce Young with he's a mobile quarterback. Imagine him with Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Depending on how long Tyreek's going to stay with the team. I know he was thinking about retiring in a couple of years, maybe after this season or next year. But that offense with
he'd also have to deal with the Jets defense twice a year, Patriots defense twice a year.
Yeah. It's like, Jets defense, I don't know what's going on with them and Hassan Reddick. I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know. I know he wants the money, but he's losing out on money too. So
that's the problem. That's it. He wants the money. And he basically wants it to be, if the Jets don't give it to him, then the Jets need to move him again to somewhere that will give him his money.
Yeah. All right, let's go the week 4. And we can't do the Giants and Cowboys game because that happened Thursday. Or yesterday. We can do I was going on the line for the NFL. We can give our score predictions for a lot of games. Your team, 1 o'clock, or no, 4:05. Patriots and Niners. How you see that game panning out? They got some major injuries, so on that side, as far as CMC, Debo's out again.
Yep, I think the
Kittle
line of 10.5 is crazy. I would go Patriots 10.5. I think the Patriots will make it interesting. I guess I see why they have it at 10. I think it's more so that Vegas doesn't like New England's offense. They don't necessarily think New England's offense could put up points like that. I get that because I think they're the 32nd ranked offense in terms of scoring right now. Because we know what the Patriots, they want to play, run the ball, time of possession, and play action. Can they do that against San Francisco? Like I said, I would take the Patriots in the 10.5 because I think the Patriots will keep it close. I think the Niners win a very close game. I would not be surprised if it was like a 23-16 type of game. I think the Niners win it, but I think the 10.5 is ridiculous that's the line. Especially like you said, with the injuries that the Niners have. And yes, Purdy's had a good season. I don't worry about Purdy. It's just that I think with the Patriots defense and their ability to run the ball, well, hopefully, I think they make it more competitive than people think. And I'm holding out like 15% chance that the Patriots could win the game outright. But I'm not going to go crazy.
All right. So you think May is not ready yet to start? I mean,
he's getting close. He's really close. Would I be surprised if he plays against the Niners at some point? No. But I think they hold him out another week. I think he's, like I said, I think like this is week 4. I think the Jags game is week 7. Maybe like week 6 we see him. Because everything I've heard out of practice and everything, like he looks good in practice and he's making it a tough decision to not start him right now.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the Niners because they have the better defense, and it's Purdy going against Brissett or whoever's gonna be starting. I just think that Jennings, he did go off for like 3 touchdowns last game.
Jennings is a good wide receiver. Yeah.
Ayuk, they have Ayuk. I mean, I think they had better weapons. It's even still with Kittle out. I mean, I'm not sure who their tight end is.
I don't know if Kittle's actually out though. I think he's just
banged up. Is he doubtful? I think
he might be questionable.
Okay. Yeah, I think that the Patriots defense can definitely keep them in the game, but I think that even with Debo out and CMC still out, I think that when now you said Kittle's questionable, he could be a game time decision. I feel like definitely that they still have the better weapons as far as Ayuk and Jennings, and that running back is good too. So if you want to go toe to toe with Purdy or Brissett, I think I'm still going with Purdy. So yeah, I think I have them winning, but it's not going to be as close because I think the Patriots D is going to keep them in the game. I just don't trust the Patriots offense with Brissett because he does scramble for his life. And I'm not really worried about Drake May. I'm worried about Drake May because of just the O-line, because if they can't protect Brissett, how are they going to protect May? But
as I said, May can move around the pocket a little easier than Brissett.
He can. He definitely can. I think I have them winning. I think it's going to be. What's the score going to be that game? I don't know, because that's hard to do a score because they lost to the Rams last week. I'll go 24. No, I'll go 28. San Francisco 20. No, I'll go 28 San Francisco. Patriots 14.
Okay.
Do you have a final score prediction for that?
Yeah, I said 23-16 Niners.
Okay. All right, so we have next game we have on the dock. On the list, Chiefs Chargers, a divisional game.
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs money line is 7.5. I mean, do you see? So it's definitely not a big. Well, I guess it's a division game. It's really not a big. It's maybe a half, a touchdown, and a half point. I mean, do you see? I mean, it's a Herbert's hobbling, so you would figure the line would be a lot bigger. But I'm assuming they would have Herbert in the lineup.
He's questionable. I mean, take that for what you want. High ankle sprain is nothing easy. Probably means he won't be as mobile if he does play. I think the bigger issue with the Chargers will be the tackles. I think Slater's banged up. Alt was banged up last week. And if the tackles aren't there, with Herbert limited with his mobility, that could be a problem. But if I'm looking at a line of 7 or 7.5, something tells me the Chargers keep it closer than a touchdown. I think it's another game that the Chiefs kind of pull out, but I think people will be looking at them saying it's an ugly win once again. I think Harbaugh's doing the right things with the Chargers. Obviously, the best thing for the Chargers will be their running game. If they can do that and limit how many times Mahomes gets the ball, that'd be their best bet. I think I'm going to go like 26-23 Chiefs. I think the Chargers cover. I think it's another game that people will be saying that the Chiefs pulled out another ugly win.
Yeah, I mean, with any division game, it gets tricky. I think I'm gonna go. I want to see Mahomes and the Chiefs lose and didn't get that first taste of an L. So I'm gonna go the opposite. I'm gonna go Chargers, but it's still gonna be close.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's gonna. So basically, they have 7.5. I think I'm gonna go a touchdown the opposite way. So I'm gonna go 27-20. Nah, okay. I'm sorry, 27-24 Chargers. I think that. Okay. Well, I think that Herbert can get it done if, like, he's more of a. I mean, yeah, he's a mobile quarterback, but he throws good in the pocket. He's like a Josh Allen. He can, stand in the pocket and withhold his own in there. With Quentin Johnson, and I think Palmer's healthy. He should be healthy. And then you got well, they don't have Mike London no more. Who's the other receiver? Quentin Johnson, Palmer. That's it, right?
Why do I feel like they drafted a guy this year? I'm completely blanking on him. Hold on. I know there's another guy, and I had it like on the tip of my tongue and then forgot. McConkey, that's who they drafted. McConkey out of Georgia. He's their third wide receiver.
Okay. Yeah, I think they pulled the upset, man. I mean, it's a divisional game. It can get murky. Like you said, like, I think that they get their first taste of L. And it's not Staley coaching, it's Harbaugh. So I mean, I feel like it's a different coach, different mindset. Dobbins is looking good. Edwards is looking good. Former Ravens running back. So I feel like they get it done. 27-24. All right, the next one. What we got? Oh, the Ravens. Actually, the Ravens are favorites. They're 2.5 point favorites. The spread. But the money line is going towards. Wait, I'm confused. So the spread is 2.5 negative or minus 2.5 points for Ravens. Mm-hmm. Total 46.5 points, but then it's plus 120 for Buffalo. So is that mean they're looking Buffalo to cover?
Plus 120 means.
It says ML and then plus 120 Buffalo.
Money line plus. So I think that means I guess the money is on. Look, I don't know. Like when it comes to that, I know the line, I know over and under. Outside of that, beyond my expertise. I think that just means like more of the money's coming in on Buffalo right now. I think that's what that means.
Because the Ravens they're one. So Bills are 120 plus money line, and then Ravens are negative 140 money line. So
no, scrap what I just said. That's just okay. So the minus 140 is because the Ravens are the favorite. The plus 120 is because the Bills are the underdog. So it's just like, yeah, if you bet 100, you'd win 120. on the Bills. But for the Ravens, you have to bet 140 to win 100. I think that's what that means. Since they're the favorite. Yeah.
So how do you feel about this game, man? I think it's in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Ravens come up with a W. What is it? I mean, it was a close game, but
I think only because it's in Baltimore. I think Baltimore probably wins. I'm not confident in that because even if the Ravens have a lead late, I could see Buffalo making a comeback and beating them late as well. You know what? No. You know what? I'm taking Buffalo. I just don't like Baltimore secondary. I think Buffalo's a team that's going to exploit that with Shakir, with Kincaid, with Keon Coleman. I think those guys are going to give Baltimore fits. And I think it's going to be a close game, though. Because, like I said, because it's in Baltimore, I think that obviously works in Baltimore's favor. But I think this is a game that Buffalo probably wins 27-23.
I think I got Baltimore winning. Not by much. I think it's gonna be 20. It's gonna be 30. 27 Buffalo.
Wait, what, huh? Oh, so yeah, the Ravens winning 30-27.
Yeah, 30. Yeah.
Okay, because you said 30-27 Buffalo. That kind of.
I feel like Lamar. Okay. I feel like Lamar and then get it done again. I feel like
would you want them getting into a shootout necessarily with Josh Allen? To be honest with you, I think if the Ravens win, it's probably a big day on the ground from Henry and probably Lamar. I think that's their best bet. I don't think they want to get into a shootout with Josh Allen in Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean, I think Coleman is. I mean, he's 4 games into the rookie season. I don't think he's a proven receiver yet. I mean, he's still
Josh Allen is
and I'm not
the ball around.
And I'm not throwing no dirt.
I know. Yeah, I know.
I'm not throwing no dirt on him. I'm just saying, like, I mean, a veteran. I would say veteran cornerback. I mean, I know Marlon Humphrey gets a lot of bull crap thrown away because he's blown covers and everything, but
he's getting burnt. What do you mean? That's why.
I know he's getting burnt. That's why I said, but I feel like. I mean.
Also, Buffalo uses James Cook a lot more now, which is the biggest thing I've always had against them, is not using him. They use him more. You're seeing them play better. I probably should have used that as another reason why I think Buffalo wins this one. I just think.
I mean, we use Henry, so it's gonna be a good one.
But I don't like y'all passing game though. That's why I was like, if they get into a shootout, like, because you predicting 30 points for Baltimore, I don't think Baltimore wants this game to get up that high. Baltimore wants to play this game in the low 20s. That's their kind of speed. If you see the score touching 30, there's a good chance Buffalo's winning this game.
Oh yes. So think if we get 30, that's bad for us.
Yes. Because I don't think Baltimore can do that.
I mean, last year weren't we up like 20-10 on them?
Once again, last year and this year are two different things.
Top Shelf. Who's that?
I have no idea who Top Shelf is.
You crazy for that comment, yo. All these two guys dating. Fuck.
Hey man, that's
dude.
Who's on the internet?
Who's balding? Me or Kyle? I want to know.
I'm wearing a hat. Gotta be talking about you. I'm wearing a hat.
Look at my hair. You can see my hair though.
He said balding. He didn't say you're bald. He said balding.
My hairline's still there. Anyways, Top Shelf.
I was
I
like,
don't
I
know.
probably shouldn't assume top shelf is a he. You never know.
I don't know.
It's the internet, man. That's all you gotta say. It's the internet.
But where did we leave? Oh man.
Okay, I guess.
Hey, take off the hat, man.
I'm not appeasing top shelf. I know troll comments when I see them. It's all good.
Oh man, that's great content, Top Shelf. I mean, I don't know where you're viewing at, but definitely follow the show, brother. Or if you're a girl, I don't know. But definitely, thanks for stopping by. But I think Top Shelf wanted to take off the hat, man. Unless
Sure.
it's glued to your head.
It's not, but okay. Once again, I am not feeding into top shelf. Not doing it.
But yeah, well, like where were we leading off at? Oh yeah, the Buffalo game. I think that I think the Ravens pull it out. Like I said, it's gonna be it's gonna be a tough game because Allen, having a good year so far.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think the Ravens offense really hasn't been bad. It's just the defense right now. Like the secondary, like you said, it hasn't really been. The offense hasn't really been subpar. It's been pretty good. I mean, Henry has like 3 or 4 touchdowns right now. They're leading in total offense. I think in the league, but it's just the defense. Or I think one of the teams they're really leading in offense. I think we have like 838 or close to 1,000 yards in offensive yardage. So we're the top team in offense. It's just like the defense is. Then they need to get the act together. I know we signed Yannick Ngakoue back to the Ravens, so he'll help lead with that pass rush. He did play with us before a couple years ago, so I think that was a good pickup as far as depth. But yeah, I think that I have the Ravens winning that game, and because I mean, I think the week after we have the Bengals. I think, or I gotta check our schedule. And those division games can be kind of tricky, even though they're 0-3. Let me see who we got next.
It's the Bengals next week.
Yeah, Bengals. It's not our prime time. It's a 1:00 game, but then we got that's gonna be a good one. Commanders and then we got the Commanders next week after that. So I mean, this is really a game that we don't. I mean, I guess we have to get because we have the Bengals and the Commanders coming up. But yeah, I definitely see them beating the Bills on Sunday. We got the Buffalo. I mean, I feel like the Jets are going to beat the Broncos. That's easy. Packers, Vikings. I mean, I don't know if Jordan Love's coming back yet, but the way Darnold's been playing lights out, I think that Vikings will win. I mean, how about you? Those two games, I think
there's a chance
Jets,
that Love
Broncos.
plays this week. I feel like Love, when he went down, this is a game that probably had circled as a first opportunity to probably come back against a Minnesota team that, like you said, is playing really well right now. Defensively, they're playing great. If I'm Matt LaFleur and there's a chance that I could get Jordan Love out on the field as opposed to Malik Willis, obviously you would take your chances with Jordan Love. I agree. I think because of the Vikings defense and how they're playing right now, I think the Vikings probably get that win. But I think that's going to be a very interesting game for sure. But yeah, I'll take the Vikings. I'll take the Jets over the Broncos. It's Bo Nix, and yeah, I'll take the Jets.
Okay. Then we had the Saints Falcons. We're not gonna go through all these games. A lot of games we're gonna go through. It wasn't the top one.
All I would say is I would take Falcons. Falcons and Saints always split, and they usually win on their home field. I think because of that, Falcons beat the Saints.
Yeah. Are there any other games that on the docket that you want to talk about? Because there's a lot more games.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them aren't necessarily that important.
Colts and Steelers. 3-0.
Steelers win that one. I'm not an Anthony Richardson fan. I think the Steelers defense destroys him. I would take the Steelers in that. I think the only other one that probably has some attention right now is like the Eagles and Bucks, because they're both 2-1. The Eagles are still struggling, and it's whether or not they, I guess build off of their win last week against the Saints, even though it was an ugly win for them. Jalen Hurts still has his issues in the passing game. I've gone back and forth with that one. I feel like earlier in the week I was like the Eagles probably win it, but it's almost like the closer we get to Sunday, I'm at the point now I think the Bucks beat the Eagles.
Interesting. I definitely see that. I definitely see that happening. Because the Hurts are struggling, and that's their offense, and then the whole team is just.
And no Devontae Smith. Smith is out.
Oh, that's a big loss for them. Yeah. Yeah, man. Man, I think that was a good show, man. Next show we're getting into some NBA talk. But yeah, my nose is killing me, man. But I'm gonna take some medicine. But yeah, man, it was a good show. Like any final thoughts, my brother?
Hey, Rod, what's up, man?
Rod, you come in when we're at the end of the show, man.
It's all good. The man trying to live life. This is when he could tune in. It's all good.
Hard-headed Rob, yo.
All I gotta say is, enjoy the football. I'm just enjoying NFL right now. WNBA. I'm hoping my Connecticut Sun can make the finals. It's going to be tough. They're playing the Lynx. I'm a big Nafisa Collier fan. I know she's going to be a tough matchup, but I like to think the Sun get it done. But we'll see. Baseball playoffs, I think, will be interesting this year. It's just an interesting time in sports, and I'm just glad to be kind of experiencing it all right now. Especially, like I said, Patriots aren't that good, but I can just go into the games, watch it, and be like, okay, defense is playing well. Ramondre Stevenson's playing well, and everything seems like it's going well with Drake May. So I just anticipating that time when Drake May runs out on the field as a starter, so we can kind of get that going, get that phase of his development going.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, a lot of sports is never ending with like storylines happening every day. So there's gonna be more headlines when the NBA season comes around, like in a couple of weeks. So we'll dive into that as well. But yeah, like you said, man, this is a great time to be a sports fan. A lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
The WNBA is still going on with the playoffs. And we'll dive into more of that next show. About the whole Caitlin Clark and everything and all that.
Her fans need to just chill, especially the ones who are talking about they're not going to watch anymore. I got 3 letters for you: BYE. Bye. I don't care.
Yeah.
If you were only watching for her and then now she's out of it, you're like, oh, the season. Give me a break. These are semifinals where you have Asia Wilson going up against Brianna Stewart. You got Collier going against Alyssa Thomas. These are 4 women that were in the MVP conversation. So stop acting like the WNBA season's over because Caitlin Clark's not in it. Like, give me a break with that.
Yeah. I mean, hey, hold on to the next episode, man. They're gonna.
Trust
I
me,
think gonna.
there'll be more. There'll be more because I got plenty to say about Caitlin Clark and her fans. Well, just her fans, not necessarily her, but her fans. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. With that being said, man, the JJL Sports Talk Show is back and better than ever. On my co-host Kyle Edwards. But yeah, man. Yeah, we'll talk about NBA and WNBA and all that. Next episode we'll dive into more on that, and then we'll dive into the week 4 predictions for the NFL. But yeah, so I'm your host, Jordan Jean Louis. I got my co-host Kyle Edwards. Also, he's on his own show. Chomping at the bit. Like me, I think he's on YouTube and all that. I know we both have Discord channels, so if you want to join both, we'll definitely drop those next week in the comments so y'all can hop in both servers. We debate sports, and if if you have pets or anything, we kind of keep it sports. But if you have pets and favorite TV shows, movies, just to keep your mind off of sports, we got that. So yeah, we got some gaming chats too. We talk about gaming, so we do that. But yeah, definitely we'll drop those Discord links next week. And then yeah. With that being said, we are out.
Yep. See you guys.